My beloved child, pause right here, at this very moment, not to escape life, but to return to the place your soul has always belonged, within my presence. You do not need to be loud. You do not need to rush to prove anything. And you do not need to force yourself to feel something special. What I am inviting you into right now is simply a sincere stillness, wide enough for your restless thoughts to slow, and deep enough for the truth within you to rise without being covered. There are days when you move through life by habit. You complete one task after another, like a clock keeping perfect time. Yet somewhere in your chest, there remains a dull ache. It is not pain tied to a single event, but the pain of having braced yourself for too long, stood on your own for too long, explained yourself for too long. I know this. I see even what you do not say, the parts you keep hidden because you fear being judged, misunderstood, or seen as weak. You have learned to keep your face composed, your words measured, your steps steady, while inside there are moments when you feel like a locked room, short of air, short of light, waiting for a hand gentle enough to open the door without breaking anything further. That is why I call you back, not to judge your weariness, but to free you from burdens you have carried as though they were destiny. Some burdens you took on simply because you believed that if you did not carry them, everything would collapse. But my child, not everything is your responsibility, and certainly not everything is meant to be built by your strength alone. Let me teach you a different way of living, not careless, not resigned, but a life rightly ordered. You place your heart in me, and from there your decisions, your responses, and your boundaries begin to come into clear focus. You will discover that when you stop trying to control everything, you do not lose agency. On the contrary, you begin to find freedom. Freedom does not mean the absence of challenges. It means no longer being driven by fear. Freedom does not mean everything becomes easy. It means you can move through difficulty while keeping your mind clear and your heart free of bitterness. I am leading you into a kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances, a peace that, even in the midst of noise, allows you to sense a quiet rhythm within, like the sound of my footsteps walking beside you. Do not worry if you cannot hear it with your ears. I do not come to overwhelm you with dramatic signs. I come with subtlety, because I do not want you to live on fleeting sensations and then fall when life returns to its ordinary pace. I want you to take root, rooted in the truth of who I am and in the truth of who you are. There were seasons when you were forced to grow up too quickly, and so you learned to save yourself with reason, with analysis, with always running ahead to prevent what might go wrong. You became skilled at predicting risk, reading people, preparing for the worst. I do not blame you, for I know you did this to survive. But now I am changing the rhythm. I am not asking you to become naive. I am asking you to stop bracing yourself as though no one were guarding you. There is a protection you cannot see, an embrace you thought you did not have, only because you grew used to standing alone. I tell you this so you may rest, not rest from work, but rest within your soul. You may continue to work, to build, to walk forward, but from now on, you no longer need to do so in a state of contraction. I want you to live open, open to guidance, open to healing, open to doors I place at the right time. You will learn to recognize my voice through very simple signs, a lightness in your chest when you stand before the right choice, an unexpected calm when you thought you would panic, a clarity that comes after you accept not having to understand everything. I am training you to discern not through anxiety, but through a deep inner agreement between your soul and my truth. And you will also understand why there were days when it felt as though you were walking in circles. It was because I was leading you away from paths that looked dazzling but were hollow. Away from attachments that seemed right but would have pulled you away from your true nature. Away from traps sweetened with quick promises. I have kept you from many things that, had you received them too early, would have cost you your wholeness. Many closed doors were not endings, but mercy. I did not allow you to enter rooms without air. I did not allow you to sign agreements that would have diminished you. I did not allow you to place your heart into hands that knew how to grasp, but not how to cherish. You have not lost anything. You have been preserved. And because you have been preserved, you can now step into a new season without carrying the distortions of old wounds. I am doing something deeper than changing circumstances. I am reshaping foundations. I am touching the roots of scarcity, fear, of excessive self-protection, of the need to be right in order to feel safe, of the hunger for validation in order to believe you have worth. Those roots once helped you endure the storm, but if you carry them into the new season, they will become cords that slow you down. So I remove them gently, prune them patiently, and use light to help you see what is true and what is merely a reaction learned from the past. You will no longer need to live in the cycle of trying harder to be loved, for my love does not operate by negotiation. You will no longer need to stay silent to avoid abandonment, for I do not leave you when you speak truth. You will no longer need to endure pain to prove strength, for I do not measure maturity by how much you can withstand, but by how well you know how to return to me and choose what is good. I am teaching you how to stand firm without becoming rigid, how to remain soft without being used, how to love without trading away dignity. And in this process, I also open your eyes to see that not every voice around you is spoken with goodwill. Not every smile is a companion, and not every compliment is a blessing. Some will feel uneasy when you begin to stand upright, because they were accustomed to seeing you bow. Some will feel threatened when you learn to say no, because they once benefited from your constant yes. Do not rush into anger, and do not retaliate. I am not calling you into battles of opinion, but into the quiet, unwavering battle of truth. Truth does not need to be loud to win. Truth only needs to be lived. You only need to keep your heart pure, walk upright, and set boundaries with calmness. I will take care of the rest. I will cause what must be revealed to be revealed in its time. And what does not belong to you will fall from your hands without you having to wrestle for it. You are not the one who arranges justice. I am your defender. You are not the one who must prove yourself. I am the one who confirms. You are not the one who must open every door by your own strength. I am the one who holds the key. If today you can do only one thing, do this. Turn inward and speak one very honest word to me. It does not need to be beautiful. It does not need perfect phrasing. It only needs to be true. One truthful word from you opens a wide door. Because I am not searching for speeches. I am searching for a heart. And when you open, I will enter not as a stranger, but as the owner of the house. I will not crush you with guilt. I will lift you with grace. I will not shame you. I will make you clear. I will teach you to recognize the inner seal. Peace goes first. Wisdom walks with you, and courage follows after. This is the beginning of a new chapter. Return in order to listen. Listen in order to stand firm. Stand firm in order to step out. And even when you think you are only sitting still, I am working alive and present. Just as Elijah long ago did not find me in the strong wind or the earthquake, but in a gentle whisper, you also will meet me in the depths. Stay a little longer. Breathe. Let your shoulders soften, and allow my presence to put everything back into its rightful order. My beloved child, as you remain in listening, you will begin to recognize that I do not speak to you through loud sounds. I do not intrude upon your life with pressure, nor do I push you to change instantly to prove anything. I work differently. I shine light within you. And that light does not blind you, it clarifies. You do not have to strive to become more spiritual in order to hear me. Your honesty is the doorway. When you dare to sit with emotions that have not yet been sorted, when you admit the parts that are still tangled, when you can say, I do not understand, I am already there. My light does not come to expose you before others. It comes to release you from what you have carried too long without even knowing how to name it. There are moments when you wonder why you still feel heavy though you have prayed, why you still feel tired though you have tried to believe. You think perhaps you are missing something, or you have not done enough. But I tell you, not every burden falls the moment you ask. Some burdens must be laid down gradually. As you learn to discern what is yours to carry and what I never assigned to you, you have grown used to carrying other people's expectations, roles you never chose, judgments you quietly accepted as truth. I do not condemn you for this. I simply invite you to look again so you can release it. My light will show you that some words etched into your memory did not come from truth at all, but from another person's fear. When you recognize that, you do not need to argue. You only need to stop living by those words. You will begin to see the boundaries you truly need. Boundaries are not cold walls to shut people out. They are protective lines that keep you from losing yourself. I am not calling you to become hard or distant. I am calling you to become steady. There is a difference between kindness and self-erasure. There is a difference between humility and allowing others to trample over you. My light teaches you this, not by rigid rules, but by peace. When you set a right boundary, you will not feel guilt, you will feel lighter. When you say no in the right place, you will not lose love, you will preserve wholeness. I know you once believed that if you did not carry, did not accommodate, did not keep trying to please, everything would fall apart. But look back, how many times did you hold on tightly and still lose? How many times did you sacrifice and still go unseen? I do not bring this up to sadden you. I bring it up to free you from the illusion that everything depends on your strength. Some things stand only when you stop gripping them. Some relationships reveal their true nature only when you stop rescuing them. My light does not destroy what is good. It only dissolves what has survived by the darkness of silence and fear. In this process, you will notice a subtle shift in how you see yourself. You will no longer measure your worth by how much you endure, nor will you anchor your value in whether others need you. You will begin to feel your worth as something already given, not something you must earn. This is deep healing, when you no longer have to prove you deserve to stay, when you no longer have to shrink to be accepted. I am not calling you to be selfish. I am calling you to be true. And when you live in truth, whatever cannot walk with truth will quietly leave. You may find new questions rising within you, no longer circling around, how do I get it, but what is right? This is a good sign. When you ask what is right, you have stepped out of the orbit of fear and into the orbit of wisdom. I will not always give you an immediate answer, because some answers only take shape when you are ready to carry the responsibility that truth requires. But I will give you signs sufficient for the next step, a deep steadiness when you choose the narrow way, a sense of depletion when you try to return to the old path. I am not punishing you with exhaustion. I am showing you what no longer fits. My light will also touch your memories. There are memories you think you have forgotten, but in truth, they were only pushed deeper. I do not bring them up so you can relieve pain. but so you can place them where they belong. When memory is placed rightly, it no longer controls the present. You will notice yourself responding differently, no longer startled by familiar words, no longer contracting in situations that once made you anxious. This is not because you have become numb, but because you have been anchored to a deeper truth. I know you once feared that if you stopped striving, stopped bracing, you would become weak. But you will discover a paradox of the spiritual realm. It is when you stop bracing that you become truly strong. The strength I give does not come from enduring more. It comes from laying burdens down in the right place. That strength is not loud, not performative, but enduring. It enables you to stay in difficult conversations without losing yourself. It enables you to walk away when needed without carrying resentment. It enables you to love without fear of being emptied. In this light, you will also see your motives more clearly. There were things you did with good intentions but were driven by fear of being abandoned. There were choices you called sacrifice that were, in truth, attempts to feel safe. I do not accuse you for this. I invite you to grow. When motives are healed, actions become lighter. You will do what is right not because you fear consequences, but because it aligns with who you truly are. This is inner freedom, freedom that does not require an audience. I remind you of this: light does not argue with darkness, it simply remains. When you live in my light, you do not need to explain yourself excessively. You do not need to win every conversation. Your peaceful presence will speak for you. Some will understand, others will feel uneasy. Their reactions are not your measure, they are only signs that the light is doing its work. Keep your heart soft, but stand upright. Let me be the one who guards your name, while you guard your soul. If this process feels slow, remember that what is deep is never rushed. I am not repainting your surface, I am reinforcing your foundation. That foundation will be able to carry the weight of what I am about to entrust to you. You will need this steadiness when new doors open, when new responsibilities arrive, when your influence touches more lives than you expect. I am preparing you not only for what is good, but for what endures. Remain a little longer in this quiet light. Do not hurry back to old rhythms simply because they are familiar. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be honest. Each day, ask one simple question: what brings me closer to you? Then take one small step in that direction. I will meet you on that path, not at the end, but in every step. And when you look back, you will realize that change has already taken place, not through sharp turns, but through an inner shift. The light has been at work. You have learned how to see, how to choose, how to remain. This is the foundation for what comes next. I am with you, always, my beloved child. When the light has stayed long enough, you will notice something very different. The noise within you has quieted, not because every question has been answered, but because questions no longer rule you. I have not silenced your thinking. I have reordered it. And in this new order, what leads is no longer fear, nor the need for approval, but a gentle assurance that you are in the right place. This assurance does not need immediate results to prove itself. It exists as a steady anchor. So whether you rise or sit, your soul does not slip. I know you once lived in a constant state of reading the room, anticipating reactions, bracing for hurt. But now, as you remain in me, you no longer have to guess. You can listen to the inner rhythm and trust that it is enough to guide you. This assurance does not arrive like thunder. It comes like a quiet, inward nod. You will find yourself no longer pulled in every direction by conflicting opinions. You listen, you weigh, but you are not swept away. You choose not to avoid trouble, but because what you choose aligns with the person I am renewing within you. Some choices may appear small, yet you will feel their weight, a timely refusal, a conditional yes with clear boundaries, a deliberate slowing down when others push you to hurry. These choices do not shrink you, they straighten you. And when you stand upright, you do not need to raise your voice. Understand this: such assurance does not make you rigid. On the contrary, it gives you flexibility where it matters. You know when to move forward and when to pause, when to speak and when to remain silent. You no longer confuse gentleness with self-erasure. You no longer use sacrifice as a way to purchase safety. You no longer stay where your soul contracts simply out of fear of loss. Assurance teaches you to leave without resentment, to remain without losing dignity, and to move on without severing kindness. In this quiet, I will also reshape how you see time. You once feared being late, missing out, being left behind. But as you remain in me, you learn to trust the right rhythm. The right rhythm is not always fast, it is true. Some things arrive late, so you do not pay the price of haste. Some things arrive early, so you can learn responsibility. I do not toy with you through delay. I protect you through timing. And when you trust this, impatience gives way to wise patience. Assurance will also illuminate your relationships with those around you. You no longer need to compete for position. You realize that what is truly yours cannot be taken. You no longer strive to be seen. My light within you finds its own way. You will notice that some draw closer in respect, while others step back when you stop being overly accommodating. Do not see this as loss. It is a reordering. So you no longer carry relationships built on ambiguity. I am not isolating you. I am refining your space so healthy connections can grow. You may be surprised to discover that assurance does not make you less loving, it makes your love more precise. You no longer love by emptying yourself. You no longer give just to keep the peace. You love with full presence and clear boundaries. This kind of love is quiet, yet nourishing. It allows others to grow rather than depend. And it allows you to grow within love itself, no longer pulled backward by guilt or self-imposed obligation. I know there were times you feared that if you stood firm, you would be misunderstood as distant. But my child, not all distance is separation. There is distance for breathing, distance for seeing clearly, distance for each person to take responsibility for their own part. Assurance gives you the courage to accept these healthy distances without panic. You do not need to pull anyone back with anxiety. You let truth do its work. And truth, when lived consistently, always finds its way. In this quiet, I will also remind you of your identity, not through grand titles, but through deep stability. You no longer need to change roles to be accepted. You no longer need to fit in by sanding away what is uniquely yours. You are who you are, and that is enough. Assurance anchors you. Here you are not the product of others' expectations. You are the work I am bringing to completion. As the ancient word declares, I do not abandon the work of my hands. You are not an exception. What I am doing in you has direction, purpose, and a good ending. When assurance takes root, you will find yourself walking differently, not faster, but steadier, not louder, but clearer. You will no longer feel compelled to explain every pause in your journey. You trust the deeper reason. You will no longer feel the need to display every effort. You trust fruit to come in its proper season. You will no longer live in constant defense. You trust that I am your protector. And this trust frees your energy to focus on what I am inviting you into right now. Remember this when you face your next choice. Assurance does not remove risk, but it places risk in its rightful place. You are not reckless, you are courageous. You are not careless, you are faithful. You do not walk blindly, you move in the light given for the next step. I do not promise you a complete map, I promise you faithful presence. And that presence is what you need. If at times you feel a gentle stirring within, not a trembling of fear, but a recognition of what is right, trust that stirring. It is a sign that I am near. If peace arrives before circumstances change, trust that peace. It is confirmation. I do not lead you by pressure. I lead you by deep inner agreement. And that agreement will not betray you. Remain in assurance. To remain does not mean to stand still. It means not being pulled away from your center. From that center, you will step forward. From that quiet, you will speak. From that foundation, you will build. I am with you in every movement, not only on the heights, and as you walk, you will carry this like a lamp, a light that is not loud, yet bright enough to guide the way. My beloved child, now that you have learned to stand firm in quietness, I want you to know that movements are taking place beyond what your eyes can see. Not every change begins on the surface. Most of what matters starts in the hidden realm, where there is no audience, no applause, no immediate validation. It is there when you stop trying to prove, when you stop demanding quick answers, that I begin to turn wheels you once thought were stuck. You have grown used to measuring progress by visible signs, results, recognition, open doors. But I am teaching you another way of seeing, a spiritual attentiveness that recognizes this truth when the inner order is set right. The outer world cannot remain unchanged forever. There are things I am doing for you that, if spoken too early, you would carry with anxiety rather than faith. So I let them grow in silence, like seeds buried deep in the soil. You do not see them sprout each day, but you know the ground is working. So am I. I am touching places you cannot access, conversations you are not part of, decisions weighed when your name is not spoken, hearts slowly being turned. Do not confuse surface silence with the absence of action. Some processes can only unfold when you do not intervene. You once believed that if you did not speak up, others would define you. But now, as you remain in me, you are learning that not every definition deserves a response. Some words dissolve when they are no longer fed. Some intentions reveal themselves when light draws near. I am not asking you to withdraw from life. I am asking you to stop living in a defensive posture. Defensiveness exhausts you, and exhaustion dulls your ability to hear me. When you release defense, you do not become fragile, you become clear. In this season, you may notice something unexpected. You are less easily triggered. Words that once unsettled you now pass without cutting deeply. Situations that once compelled you to explain yourself no longer demand your voice. This is not indifference, it is anchoring. When you are anchored, waves may still strike, but they do not carry you away. I have done this work in you not so you would avoid life, but so you could remain within it without losing your center. I also want you to understand that as hidden movements begin, your patience will be tested, not painfully, but subtly. You may see pieces not yet fully aligned, signals that feel ambiguous, doors that open slightly and then pause. I am not playing with you. I am teaching you to discern the push of impatience from the leading of my spirit. Impatience demands proof now. Guidance gives you enough light for the next step. You do not need illumination for the whole road. You need enough to keep from stumbling here. You may be tempted to return to old ways, increasing speed, tightening control, stepping in prematurely. But remember this, what I am building is not a quick outcome, but a durable structure. Durable structures cannot endure haste. They require time for joints to settle, for pressure to be distributed correctly, for weight to be carried without fracture. I am not only concerned that you arrive, I am concerned that you can remain there without breaking. As you wait, I am also working with your motives. You may ask yourself, if this happens, will I still be myself? I place that question in your heart, not to frighten you, but to free you. I do not want to give you a good gift only to see it become a burden because you were not ready. I do not want to lead you into a new space while you still carry old habits. So, I give you time not to delay, but to deepen. In this hidden place, I am also healing how you understand power. You once thought power meant controlling situations or influencing others' decisions. But the power I give you is different. It is the ability to remain at rest in your own truth without manipulation. It is the freedom to say yes when aligned and no when needed, without fearing a loss of worth. It is the courage to walk slowly when others run, and to run when the moment comes, without seeking permission from doubt. You may notice relationships being tested during this season, not because you have done anything wrong, but because when you change your rhythm, those who are accustomed to the old rhythm may feel disoriented. I am not telling you to cut people off. I am telling you to be clear. Clear in your words, clear in your boundaries, clear in your expectations. Clarity does not diminish love. Ambiguity is what slowly erodes it. When you live with clarity, relationships built on truth will grow stronger, while those sustained only by convenience will naturally loosen. In this process, you will also learn to trust in alignment. There are things you no longer need to chase. They will draw near when you are in the right place. There are opportunities that do not need promotion. They recognize you. I am teaching you to live like a wise sower, to do your part faithfully each day. And then let me take care of the harvest. The harvest does not come through anxiety. It comes through alignment. Do not despise the days that seem as though nothing is happening. Those very days are laying the foundation for others to come. Long ago, some were hidden before they were called into public view, not because they were unready, but because the environment was not yet ready for them. I am doing the same with you. I am shielding you from premature attention, so that when the light comes, it does not blind you, but causes you to shine. If you find your heart wavering at times between hope and doubt, remember, this wavering does not destroy faith. It simply shows that you are standing at a threshold. Bring that wavering to me, not to demand answers, but to be anchored. I do not accuse you for being human. I meet you in truth. And in that meeting, I realign your direction not by pressure, but by presence. When you release, your hands become empty. And when your hands are empty, you are ready to receive. I am preparing you for what is coming, not through tension, but through openness. Remain in this rhythm. Continue being faithful in the small things. Trust that hidden movements are working for you, not against you. I am with you not only at the destination, but in every step, unfolding now, even when you cannot yet name it. And when the moment comes, you will recognize that what has been prepared in silence cannot be stopped. You have been guided in the right direction. I am still working, and you have not been forgotten. Beloved child, this is the time when truth begins to surface, not through accusations or dramatic exposures, but through a steady light that makes what was once blurred impossible to conceal. You will realize that I do not need you to expose anyone. You only need to keep living truthfully, and truth will find its own way out. This will require a new kind of patience from you, because truth does not always arrive at the speed you would prefer. But trust this when it comes. It comes with enough weight that it can no longer be denied. There are relationships, situations, and structures you once believed were fine that are now beginning to show small cracks. Before, you may have overlooked them because you wanted to keep the peace, wanted to believe the best, or wanted to avoid the risk of change. I do not fault you for that. You did the best you could with the light you had at the time. But now, the light has increased. And when the light increases, you can no longer pretend that misalignment is normal. I do not bring light to make you feel unsafe. I bring light to protect you from compromises that slowly drain the soul. You will see motives more clearly, not only in others, but in yourself. There were times you said yes out of fear of being judged, stayed silent out of fear of being excluded, nodded along because you thought it was the only way to keep your place. I do not remind you of this to condemn you, but to show you that you no longer need to live that way. When truth surfaces, it does not come to shame you. It comes to restore you to your true measure, not exaggerated, not diminished, just right. During this season, you may sense conversations happening where you are not present. I know this can stir old feelings of being left out, misunderstood, or evaluated behind your back. But listen carefully, not every conversation requires your presence. And not every opinion has the authority to define you. When you are in truth, you do not need to manage your image. I am the one who guards your name. What needs to be known will be known at the right time. What does not belong to you will not cling for long. As truth comes into the open, it will test your response. You will be invited to choose between defending yourself and standing still. Defense will exhaust you. Stillness allows me to act. Standing still is not passivity. It is an active decision to trust that I am working beyond what you can see. There are battles you do not need to enter in order to win. There are words you do not need to answer in order to be vindicated. When you choose to stand still in truth, you give me space to turn what you cannot turn on your own. Not everyone will be pleased when the truth is revealed. Those who are comfortable with your flexibility may feel unsettled when you become clear. Structures that depend on ambiguity will shake when you stop compromising. Their reactions are not a measure of you. They simply indicate that the light is touching the right place. You do not need to retaliate, nor retreat in fear. You only need to keep walking with clear boundaries and a guarded peace. In this light, I will teach you to discern between knowing and acting. Not everything you see requires an immediate response. Some things I show you so that you will pray, not so that you will fix. Some things I reveal so that you will prepare inwardly, not so that you will confront. Wisdom lies in knowing how to wait for the right time. As it has been written, there is a time to speak and a time to remain silent. I lead you in both, so that you do not act from impulse, but from guidance. As truth surfaces, you will feel a lightness, even if circumstances have not yet changed. This is the sign that you are no longer living divided, thinking one thing, saying another, feeling one way while acting another. Inner coherence brings quiet strength. It allows you to rest more deeply, decide more simply, and say no without lengthy explanations. This is not coldness, this is maturity. I know you once feared that if you lived fully in truth, you would lose more than you gained. But, beloved, anything that survives only through concealment was never meant to remain. When truth is revealed, What belongs to me will become more stable, and what does not belong to me will quietly fall away. This separation is not punishment, it is preparation. I am clearing space so that what aligns with your new identity can enter. In this season, pay attention to very small signs, peace that remains under pressure, clarity that comes after you refuse to compromise, the sense of relief when you speak honestly even while your voice trembles. These are my confirmations. I do not confirm you with applause. I confirm you with enduring peace. When that peace is present, you are within my will, even if you have not yet seen results. As truth comes into the open, it also brings new responsibility, not the responsibility to fix others, but the responsibility to live faithfully according to what you have seen. The greater the light, the deeper the honesty required. You cannot return to ambiguity without losing peace. But do not be afraid, I do not leave you to carry this alone. I walk with you in every small choice, warn you when you are about to compromise, and strengthen you when you choose rightly and must bear the cost. Remember this, I am not in a hurry. I am not pressured by human timelines. I care more about sustainability than speed. So when you see truth unfolding layer by layer, do not panic. This is how I protect you from greater collapse later on. I would rather show you a small crack now than let you stand on an unstable foundation and fall. You do not need to know everything. You only need to be faithful with what I have already shown you. The light given for today is enough. Tomorrow, I will give more. I am with you throughout this unveiling process, never leaving you exposed, never allowing you to be overwhelmed by what you see. I am the guiding light, and I am also the shade that shelters you. Keep moving forward with a slow but steady rhythm. Truth is at work, and when truth is at work, you are becoming freer day by day. Beloved child, the next stage no longer lies in knowing more, but in holding firmly to what you already know. This is where many people falter, not because they lack light, but because they lack the faithfulness to live by that light. I do not say this to make you anxious, but to help you understand the nature of this season. You are not called to debate the truth, nor are you called to negotiate with it. You are called to remain with it, even when it is not welcomed, even when it causes you to walk more slowly than others. Holding to the truth is not a single dramatic act, it is a repeated choice. Each day, you will face small situations where you can choose to return to old ways for the sake of ease, or choose to remain with what is right, even when it is uncomfortable. Not every choice will look significant. Sometimes it is simply choosing not to reshape your story to suit the listener. Sometimes it is refusing to take on responsibility that does not belong to you. Sometimes it is declining to participate in conversations that erode another person's dignity. It is within these quiet choices that your faithfulness is formed. You may notice that when you hold to the truth, not everyone feels comfortable staying close to you. In the past, your flexibility created a false sense of safety for many. Now, your clarity invites them to face themselves. That is not easy, but do not confuse their reaction with wrongdoing on your part. Truth does not cause harm, it only reveals what already exists. You are not responsible for the discomfort others feel when they encounter the light. Faithfulness does not mean becoming rigid or closed off. Faithfulness means keeping your heart soft without allowing it to be bent out of shape. You can still listen, still empathize, still love, but you no longer trade truth for the sake of harmony. There is a deep difference between peace and avoidance. I do not call you to build peace by remaining silent in the face of what is wrong. I call you to build peace by living rightly, even when that creates an awkward silence. In this season, you will learn a subtle lesson. Not every open door comes from me. Some opportunities appear reasonable, convenient, perfectly timed, but if you step into them, you would have to abandon the conviction I have formed within you. I am not forbidding you to walk through wide doors. I am inviting you to examine the cost. If the cost is silence about what you know is wrong, if the cost is shrinking yourself, if the cost is living divided, then trust that such a door was not opened by my hand. Faithfulness will also be tested when results do not appear immediately. You may ask yourself, if I chose rightly, why has nothing changed yet? Remember this, I do not measure your rightness by the speed of outcomes, but by the durability of your identity. Some delays are not signs of displeasure, they are signs that I am reinforcing what is within you, so you can carry what is coming without distortion. Waiting in faithfulness does not set you back, it roots you deeper. You may also find that being faithful to truth sometimes leaves you standing alone in your decisions. This is not because you have been abandoned, but because not everyone is called to walk with you on this stretch of the path. Temporary solitude is not proof that you are wrong. Often, it is confirmation that you are aligned with me. In those moments, I draw closer, not with lengthy explanations, but with a presence sufficient to keep you from breaking. I know there are days when you feel weary of always being the one who holds the standard. You may not say it aloud, but there are moments when you wish you could loosen your grip just to breathe more easily. I hear that. And I speak to you gently. You are not holding the standard alone. I am with you. Your faithfulness does not rest on your endurance, but on the grace I supply each day. When you are weak, I am strong. When you falter, I uphold you. You do not need to prove your faithfulness. You only need to return to me when you are tired. Through this process, you will notice something vital. Faithfulness clears your vision. When you no longer compromise, you begin to see more clearly what I am doing and what is merely noise. Decisions that once kept you wavering will become simpler, not because you think less, but because you now have a clear axis around which to turn. That axis is not success, nor approval, but the truth I have placed within you. Faithfulness also prepares you for greater trust. I do not entrust weighty things to those who still hesitate before truth, not because I am harsh, but because I am protective of you. What I am arranging for you requires a foundation that will not be shaken by public opinion or short-term gain. That foundation is being formed right now, in the small choices you are making today. If you ever wonder whether your faithfulness is worth it, look at the peace that remains within you. That peace does not come from everything going smoothly, but from not betraying what you know to be right. It is a quiet but real reward. It keeps you from being divided within. It gives you strength to keep going without having to patch up your soul along the way. Continue to be faithful in small things. I do not need you to be perfect. I need you to be honest. I do not need you to be strong at all times. I need you to return whenever you are weak. The truth I have revealed to you was not meant to burden you, but to let you walk in freedom. I am with you in every unseen choice, and from those choices no one notices. I am preparing things that many will one day see. Keep going. I will not leave you, not even for a single step. Beloved child, when you have learned to hold truth with faithfulness, I will begin to lead you away from familiar paths, not with a sudden jolt, but through subtle shifts that help you realize what once fit no longer does. I do not take things from you harshly. I simply show you what has completed its purpose. Some habits once helped you survive difficult seasons, but if you carry them into the next stage, they will become barriers. So I invite you to step out, not to deny the past, but to refuse to be imprisoned by it. You will sense this change first within yourself. Old reflexes no longer rise as quickly. You no longer rush to explain when misunderstood. No longer scramble to adjust yourself to please others. No longer automatically take blame to keep the surface calm. Instead, there is a pause, brief, but enough to choose. That pause is a sign that I am at work. It gives you space to discern, to ask, does this truly belong to me? And often, you will hear a quiet but clear answer, not anymore. You once knew exactly what to do in certain situations. Now you are no longer sure. This uncertainty is not failure. It is room for something new. I do not want you living by reflexes shaped by past wounds. I want you living by present guidance. That is why I allow you to feel what no longer fits. So you will stop returning to old choices simply because they are familiar. Beloved child, familiarity does not mean rightness. In this season, I will also touch the way you use your energy. Before, you may have scattered your strength across many fronts, maintaining an image, maintaining relationships, maintaining a pace other people expected from you. Now, you will find you no longer have patience for those things. Do not rush to accuse yourself of being selfish. This is a realignment. I am teaching you to focus, not to shrink your heart, but to expand your impact in the right place. Energy placed rightly will blossom. Energy spread thin will only produce exhaustion. Leaving old patterns also means you will no longer be understood by everyone. Some people were accustomed to the former version of you, the version always available, always enduring, always adjusting. When you change, they may call it distance, different, even cold. I know this touches a deep fear in you, the fear of being misunderstood. But listen, you are not called to preserve familiarity at the cost of truth. You are called to be faithful to what I am doing, even when it disrupts other people's comfort. I am not asking you to cut everything off. I am only asking you to stop gripping so tightly. There is a difference between letting go and abandoning. You can release your hold and still keep your heart upright. You can walk forward without slamming doors in anger. When you stop gripping, you make room for me to handle what you cannot. And you will be surprised to see how many things you thought could never change begin to rearrange themselves when you stop trying to control them. In this process, I will also clarify hidden motives. You may discover that some things you once did for good were actually driven by fear, fear of losing your place, fear of being left behind, fear of no longer being needed. I do not expose this to shame you. I expose it to free you. When motives are healed, actions become lighter. You will no longer have to force yourself to do what is right. What is right will begin to feel natural. Leaving old patterns will also teach you how to live with imperfection. You will not have every answer immediately. You will not always know the next step, but you will know something far more important. You will know who is walking with you. That certainty allows you to move forward while still learning. I do not require you to finish the plan before you begin. I ask you to trust me enough to walk, and to let me complete the plan as you go. I know there will be moments when you miss the feeling of control, when you miss knowing every possible outcome. But, beloved, control is not safety. It is only the illusion of safety. True safety comes from my presence. As you learn to remain in that presence, you will find you can move through unfamiliar situations without panic. You do not need to predict everyone's reactions. You only need to keep your heart upright and the ears of your soul open. In this season, I will also invite you to review how you define progress. Progress is not always moving faster or doing more. Sometimes, progress is knowing when to stop. Sometimes, progress is daring to decline an attractive opportunity because it does not align with what I am building. Sometimes, Progress is stepping out of a familiar loop into uncertainty covered by me. I do not measure your progress by quantity, but by the alignment between your heart and my leading. As you are led out of old paths, you will begin to sense new space opening up. At first, that space may feel empty. You may feel the absence of familiar rhythms and old preoccupations. Do not rush to fill it. This emptiness is intentional. I am making room. What I am about to bring into your life needs space to breathe. If you rush to fill it with what is familiar, you will miss what I am preparing. Allow yourself to remain in that space with me. Let me teach you a new rhythm, a rhythm that does not drain you, a rhythm that allows you to be fully present. You will notice yourself becoming more selective, listening more, responding more slowly. This is not hesitation, it is ripening. You are learning how to live without being pulled by inertia. I am not pushing you into the new through force. I am leading you through increasing clarity. Keep walking at my pace, slow but steady. The old paths have completed their role. Now you are being led into a road that fits the person you are becoming. I am with you in every step of leaving and every step of moving forward. You are not lost. You are being led. Beloved child, after you step out of old paths, what you meet first is not immediately the new, but a space in between. This space can confuse you, because you were used to a full rhythm, a packed schedule, responsibility stacked upon responsibility. Now, as those things are lifted, you may find yourself standing in a quiet place, no noise, no urgency, and yet no clear shape formed. I want you to know this space is not absence, it is preparation. I am not letting you fall into meaningless emptiness. I am sanctifying this space so it becomes the place where I sow what is new. Some are afraid of emptiness because they equate it with failure, stagnation, or not doing enough. But, beloved, I do not work by human fear. I work by the rhythm of life. As soil must be turned and then left still before the seed can take root, your soul also needs a season, not crowded by noise. In this sanctified space, I heal hurried reflexes, soften the compulsion to prove yourself, and quiet the voices that once pushed you to run faster than your breath could carry. You will discover that a sanctified emptiness does not weaken you, it awakens you. You begin to hear subtle motives that were once drowned out. You start to recognize what truly nourishes you and what merely keeps you busy. Some things you called responsibility were actually habit. Some burdens you considered necessary were in fact a way of avoiding presence. I do not condemn you for that. I simply invite you to lay them down so you can receive life in the right places again. In this space, I also teach you how to be still without self-accusation. You may hear an old voice whisper, "You're wasting time," or "You should be doing something." Recognize that voice, but do not let it lead. I am teaching you a new discipline, the discipline of presence. Stillness is not passivity, it is an act of trust. When you are still with me, you allow truth to settle deep enough that it will not be distorted by haste. This space is also where I work with memory. Old images and stories may rise not to pull you backward, but to help you close them properly. I teach you to look back without getting stuck, to remember without being swept away. When memory is placed in light, it loses authority over the present. You will notice you no longer overreact to familiar triggers. This is healing, not hardness. I know you may fear that if you do not quickly fill the empty space, you will fall behind. But listen, what is meant for you will not wander off. I do not need you to run to catch what I have already ordained. I need you ready to carry it. Readiness does not come from a crowded calendar. It comes from a strengthened foundation. A sanctified emptiness is where that foundation is reinforced not by pressure, but by truth. In this season, new impulses will begin to sprout quietly. Not yet a plan, not yet a structure. Do not rush to force them to grow. Hold them in prayer, in observation, in steady breath. What I sow at first is often very small, so you learn to nurture rather than control. When you learn to nurture, what is small will grow in its proper season. This space will also test your relationship with recognition. When there are fewer results to display, you may face the question, do I still have value? I answer you with gentle certainty. Your value does not depend on your output. You have value because you are mine. When this answer sinks in, you will no longer need busyness to prove your worth. I also want you to notice the change in your prayer. Your prayers may become shorter, with fewer requests, and more listening. That is not dryness, it is maturity. When you stop using words to fill the space, I fill it with my presence. Some things cannot be understood through language, they can only be lived with. Within the sanctified space, I am also reshaping the way you understand risk. You no longer equate risk with danger, nor do you equate safety with standing still. You are learning to discern between risk that is led by me and recklessness born of impatience. This discernment comes through peace. When peace goes ahead of your steps, you may move forward even when you cannot yet see the long road. When pressure goes ahead of you, pause, no matter how wide the path may appear. Beloved child, I do not allow the space to last longer than necessary. I know the right moment to sow, but I also know that if I sow too early, you would tend the seed with anxiety. That is why I remain with you in this space, teaching you a new rhythm of breathing, a new way of seeing, a new way of choosing. This rhythm will stay with you when the new begins, so that you do not lose yourself in the midst of growth. Remember this, a sanctified space is not meaningless waiting, it is a transition. From here, you will step into what is new with clarity that does not need noise. With a foundation that is not easily shaken, you will carry a deep freedom from having to fill every moment, from having to prove yourself, from having to chase another's rhythm. I am preparing you for something of weight, and what carries weight requires a firm foundation. Remain a little longer in this space. Trust that I am at work even when you do not see anything happening. I am nearer than you think. And when I sow, you will recognize that everything has been carefully prepared in the quiet. Beloved child, when the space has been sanctified long enough, I do not leave it empty forever. I sow. But the way I sow is not the way the world begins things. I do not overwhelm you by pouring the new upon you all at once. I place within your soul small, hidden seeds alive enough to take root, humble enough to remain unseen. What is new does not arrive with noise, it arrives with a gentle confirmation deep within a sense of rightness that needs no argument. You may not yet be able to name it or outline its shape, but you will recognize that something has begun to move in a different rhythm. The first seed I sow is often an inclination rather than a plan. You will notice yourself leaning toward a direction, drawn to a subject, pulled toward a space you once overlooked. Do not rush to turn that inclination into a goal. Give it time. I sow so that you learn to tend with faithful attention, not with pressure for results. When you protect the seed from scrutinizing eyes and from the noise of comparison, it will take root more deeply than you expect. What is newly sown will also test your patience. You were once accustomed to seeing quick results to reassure yourself that you were on the right path. Now, I invite you to trust a process you cannot yet see. Trust is not blind risk. Trust is remaining with what I have already confirmed through peace. There will be days when you wonder, am I imagining this? I answer you with consistency. My seed does not need your anxiety to survive. It needs your faithfulness. Faithfulness here means continuing to do what is right in front of you, even when the larger picture has not yet appeared. I also want you to know that when the new is sown, the old will react, not to pull you back, but to be recognized one final time. Familiar habits, familiar fears, voices that once shaped you may rise up and demand their place. Do not panic. This is a sign that the seed has touched real soil. You do not need to fight what is old. You simply need to stop letting it act as the gardener. I have changed who tends the garden. Now you care for it by listening, and I water it with grace. Child, the new does not require you to become someone else. On the contrary, it leads you back to the truest version of yourself, long covered by adaptation and survival. You will notice yourself speaking differently, less explaining, more presence. You will become more selective, not out of fear, but out of clarity. You will find yourself more steady, not by effort, but because you now have a center. These are signs that the seed is sprouting. It brings consistency from the inside out, so that action is no longer a coating, but fruit. In this season, I invite you to learn a new skill, adjusting your rhythm. You do not chase the pace of others, nor do you force your own. You observe the rhythm of life within and step accordingly. Some days the rhythm is fast, you do much. Speak clearly. Decide efficiently. Some days the rhythm is slow, you listen. Gently, and wait. Both belong to me. What matters is not speed, but alignment. When you are aligned, the seed receives sufficient light and water. Beloved child, I will also teach you how to protect what is new, not through secrecy, but through wisdom. Not everyone needs to know what you are nurturing. Sharing too early can dry the seed in the wind. You do not owe the world a draft of your soul. You owe me faithfulness. When the time comes, I will show you whom to tell, how much to share, and in what tone. This wisdom keeps what is new from being bent by the expectations of others. I know you may fear that following what is new will require you to give up too much. Listen to me, what I sow does not come to take life away. It comes to multiply life. But multiplication does not always mean adding more. Often it means removing what dilutes. You will find your choices clearer, your commitments leaner, your relationships healthier. As a branch is pruned, so it may bear more fruit. So your life is being arranged to produce lasting fruit. What is new will also bring new responsibility, not heavy, but real. This responsibility is not a burden to prove yourself. It is an invitation to care. You will be invited to invest time, attention, and faithfulness in small things connected to the seed. Do not despise small things. It is there that your new identity is strengthened. I do not test you immediately with what is large. I test you with what is near. In the early days of growth, the new may seem fragile. Do not measure vitality by noise. The strongest plants grow in silence. Measure by other signs, peace that remains, clarity that steadily increases, and the ability to say no to what does not align without the need to justify yourself. When these signs are present, you may rest assured the seed is alive. I also want to remind you that what is new has its season. You cannot pull the season forward with anxiety, nor can you preserve it by gripping tightly. You can only remain in the right season through today's faithfulness. Each day, Ask a simple question. Today, what small thing can I do to care for the seed? It may be an hour of focused attention, a conversation with the right person, a decision to hold a boundary, or a time of stillness to listen. These small acts arrange themselves into a path. When I sow something new, I do not leave the garden. I remain there watching, watering, shielding from harsh winds, and gently reminding you when you are about to overwater. You are not the sole bearer of responsibility for growth. I am the one who gives the growth. Your part is to remain, to tend, and not to give up before fruit appears. My part is to bring what I have begun to completion. Remember this: when doubt arises, what is new does not require your perfection, it requires your presence. When you are tired, you rest in me. When you lose your way, you return. When you make mistakes, you adjust through grace. There is no step you take that lies beyond my ability to redeem and use for good. What I have sown carries a life greater than the failures you fear. You do not need to look elsewhere for it. It is already here, in soil that has been sanctified, under faithful care. From here, you will begin to see the first signs, not loud, but real. Keep walking in my rhythm. When the time comes, what is new will rise clearly enough for you and for others to see. This is not coincidence. This is the fruit of a guided process. I am with you in the sowing, in the waiting, and in the harvest, and I will not abandon what I have begun. Beloved child, when what is new has been sown and has taken root in silence, you will begin to notice another movement, guidance becoming clearer, not because every road is mapped out, but because your heart has grown still enough to recognize direction. Before, you often asked me for a complete map, every step, every turn, every outcome. Now, I give you something better, an inner compass aligned with truth. That compass does not speak loudly, but it does not err. It shows you direction. The specific steps will be revealed as you move. This clarity does not arrive as a dramatic call. It comes as inner agreement. You will notice that you are no longer torn apart by too many options. Things that once attracted you but scattered your focus now feel dull. Tasks that once required you to convince yourself to push a little longer lose their pull. In contrast, some things quiet and unremarkable feel right. So right that you do not need to explain them. That is guidance. It does not tense you. It gathers you. Remember that clearer guidance also brings clearer responsibility. I do not guide you so you can stand and watch. I guide you so you can walk. There are small steps that need to be taken promptly, a call to make, a habit to adjust, a commitment to simplify. Do not dismiss these steps. I often open large doors through small movements. When you are faithful with what is near, I entrust you with what is far. You may feel a gentle but steady prompting, a nudge to reorder your time, to reduce sources of noise, to speak truth earlier rather than letting it accumulate. This is not pressure, it is preparation. I am tuning the rhythm of your life so it can carry what I am increasing. Just as a boat must be cleared before setting sail, your heart needs order to go the distance. As guidance becomes clearer, discernment sharpens. You begin to recognize what needs to be done today and what can wait. You no longer confuse busyness with effectiveness. You start saying no more quickly to invitations that do not align, and yes more firmly to what is right. This may surprise some, even unsettle them, but you do not need to apologize for maturity. You only need to remain humble and keep walking. I know there are moments when you worry that following this guidance will cost you flexibility. Hear me clearly. Clarity does not kill freedom, it protects it. When you know the direction, you are not pulled by every gust of wind. You can remain flexible in how you walk without losing your way. This is mature freedom, the freedom not to react to every stimulus. The freedom to choose selectively, so what is essential is preserved. In this season, I will also show you the right companions. Not many, but right. They do not push you faster than my pace, nor do they pull you back into old rhythms. They recognize the light within you and respect it. Conversations with them do not drain you, they sharpen you. You do not need to search for them strategically, you only need to be in the right place. When you are in the right place, the right connections will find you. Clearer guidance will also test your trust in a new way. Before, you trusted me when you saw nothing. Now, you are invited to trust me as you begin to see. Seeing openings also means seeing responsibility, seeing risk, seeing decisions that can no longer be postponed indefinitely. Do not be afraid. I do not show you these things to overwhelm you. I show them so you can be ready. Light is given in portions, sufficient for each step. You may realize that some things you once prayed for no longer attract you as they used to. That is not because I have refused your prayers, but because you have changed. As you grow, your desires are refined. I do not cancel your dreams, I mature them. And mature dreams are often quieter but far more enduring. In this clearer guidance, I invite you to keep one simple discipline, the discipline of daily listening. It does not need to be long or elaborate. Just a moment when you turn inward and ask honestly, today, which step is faithful? Then you take that step. Day by day, small steps form a path. And when you look back, you will be surprised. Guidance does not exclude missteps. You may not understand everything fully. You may not act perfectly, and that does not cause me to leave you. When you stumble, I correct with light, not with shame. I care more about direction than about individual slips. As long as you return, I always have a way to realign you. As guidance becomes clearer, you will notice that peace remains even as the pace of life increases. This peace does not come from everything being easy, it comes from everything being aligned. You are no longer living in fragments. What you believe, what you say, and what you do begin to line up. That alignment is a quiet strength. It steadies you in the midst of change. Keep your heart open and walk in my rhythm. Do not compare your pace with that of others. Your path has its own incline, its own curves, and its own timing. I do not confuse you with anyone else. The guidance given to you is measured according to the identity you carry and the purpose I have planted within you. You are entering a new stretch, a stretch of guided action, not rushed, not delayed, but right. I am with you in every small decision, in every concrete step forward, and as you walk, you will see clarity does not eliminate mystery, it makes mystery livable. I am here, I am leading you, and you are moving in the right direction. Beloved child, when guidance has become clearer within you, I will not let it remain only at the level of inner sensing. I bring you into a stage where it is tested through action, not to test you in a way that produces fear, but to anchor that clarity into everyday life. What I speak to you in silence will begin to be confirmed through very ordinary steps, choices, responses, small decisions that can no longer be postponed indefinitely. You will discover that true guidance never contradicts faithfulness in ordinary responsibilities. I do not lead you far by neglecting what is near. On the contrary, when you do well what is right in front of you with an upright heart, You are confirming that you can be trusted with more. Some doors do not open through long prayers, but through simple obedience, when you do what is right even when no one sees. I take note. When you keep a small promise, I entrust you with greater things. Guidance does not pull you out of life, it seeps into life. You do not need to wait for a dramatic spiritual moment to move forward. It is within the daily rhythm that I show you whether you are aligned or not. When you act according to guidance, peace remains not because everything goes smoothly, but because you do not betray what you know is right. That peace is the clearest verification. Pay attention to how small actions begin to create a chain reaction. One honest decision opens the way for a truthful conversation. One clear boundary cleans the space for a fitting opportunity to enter. One timely decision to slow down saves you from an unnecessary tangle. You may not see the connections immediately, but I am weaving them together. My guidance rarely shows up as a straight line. It shows up as consistency. In this stage, you will also face choices that carry a cost, not a cost meant to punish you, but a cost meant to confirm you. There are things you could do to move faster, to be more convenient, to be more readily accepted, but if you do them, you would have to sacrifice the clarity I have given you. I do not force you. I honor your choice. But understand this: every time you choose guidance over convenience, you strengthen the inner axis within you. That axis will hold you when pressure increases. You may feel a subtle tension between doing what is right and doing what is expected. I know that tension. You are not called to please everyone. You are called to be faithful. Faithfulness does not distance you. It clarifies you. And clarity, though it may initially cause discomfort, ultimately produces lasting respect. Those who are aligned will understand. Those who are not will naturally adjust their distance. I will also use outcomes to confirm guidance, not flashy outcomes, but deep ones. You will notice your life becoming less tangled, your decisions cleaner, your relationships healthier. You will find yourself correcting fewer mistakes because you are no longer rushing. You will see your energy being used in the right places. These results do not appear overnight, they accumulate. And when you look back, you will realize that guidance has been proven not by words, but by fruit. There is another sign I want you to notice: increasing freedom. When you act in alignment with guidance, you are no longer trapped in the need to explain everything. You no longer have to convince yourself that you are doing the right thing. You know, and that knowing frees you from the constant search for validation. This is a sign that you are maturing in me, a quiet maturity, but a very steady one. This season will also teach you how to adjust when needed. Not every step will be perfect. There will be moments when you realize you did not see clearly enough, or that you acted a bit too soon. I do not use those moments to shame you. I use them to refine you. When you are willing to adjust without becoming defensive, you demonstrate that you value truth more than ego, and I always know how to turn those adjustments into forward movement. You will learn to distinguish between stubbornness and steadfastness. Stubbornness clings to decisions to protect image. Steadfastness clings to truth to protect identity. When you are steadfast, you can still listen, still learn, still change as light increases. True guidance always walks with humility. I do not lead you into a place where you must be right at all costs. I lead you into what is right according to the light you have. I will also show you that when you act according to guidance, I act with you. Doors open at the right time. Coincidences carry grace. Obstacles are removed not by force, but by arrangement. I do not promise a path without challenges. I promise a path with companionship. and that companionship becomes most evident when you move. Remember this: when you are tired, you do not need to prove that you are being guided. You only need to continue walking faithfully. Guidance does not need to be defended by anxiety, it is defended by fruit. When you see yourself living more rightly, more lightly, and more truthfully, that is evidence enough. What I lead you into, I will also sustain you to carry out. You are not left to manage the clarity you receive on your own. I am there before you, beside you, and within you. Every faithful action today is laying a stone for tomorrow. Keep walking with quiet courage. Guidance has been tested, and it will continue to be confirmed as you live by it. I am with you in every step, missing nothing, leaving nothing behind. Beloved child, when guidance has been proven through action, I will bring you to a very specific point, the point of entering. No longer just listening, no longer merely discerning, no longer only preparing. This is the moment you step through a door I have already opened. And that door does not always appear the way you once imagined. Often it comes as something simple, an invitation, an opportunity, an encounter, a small decision that quietly shifts direction. Yet beneath that simplicity lies a deep arrangement, a precise alignment of timing, people, and purpose. You do not need to panic at this moment. I did not bring you here to leave you breathless. I brought you here because you have been prepared to step. What sets my door apart from doors opened by impatience is this: you do not have to trade wholeness to enter. My door does not require you to pretend to be strong, does not force you to strain in order to hold your place, does not demand that you live divided. It invites you to step in truth. And when you step in truth, you do not lose your gentleness, you simply stop compromising. You will feel this clearly instead of tension. There is a steady peace, not peace because all risk disappears, but peace because you know you are walking with me. Parts of the past may try to pull your gaze backward. Old voices may rise to say, you are not ready, not good enough, destined to fail as before. But hear me, those are only echoes from seasons when you lived in lack and self-doubt. You no longer belong to those seasons. When you step forward, you do not step by memory, you step by my word. And my word places you ahead, not behind. This door is not merely an external change, it is a change in influence. You will no longer live folded into a narrow zone of safety. You will be invited to be more present, to stand in a more fitting position, and to take responsibility for the light I have placed within you. This is not a burden meant to exhaust you, it is maturity. When I widen your influence, I also widen my grace toward you. You are not meant to carry the new with old strength. Stepping through a door already opened also requires you to release something subtle to the need for absolute certainty. You will not have all the data. You will not see the entire path, but you will have enough to cross the threshold. Some steps can only be understood after they are taken. I do not ask you to understand everything before you obey. I ask you to trust enough to obey. And then I give understanding in portions. This is how I protect you from paralysis by analysis. You were not created to live suspended. You were created to move. Within this door, I will also teach you how to receive and hold blessings. You have grown accustomed to giving, to enduring, to carrying things on your own. Now you will learn to receive without feeling indebted, to accept support without seeing yourself as weak, to allow others to walk with you without fearing dependence. This is deep healing. Some souls have been wounded so deeply that they only feel safe when carrying everything alone. But I do not want you living in the isolation of constant self-carrying. You were formed for right communion with me, and with those I place rightly around you. As you enter, you will encounter new challenges, not to break you, but to confirm your foundation. The enemy does not fear those who stand still. It fears those who step rightly. So, it will attempt to distract through doubt, comparison, and the voice that says, "You are not worthy." Remember this, your worth is not in performance. It is in belonging to me. I do not open doors because you are perfect. I open doors because you have been prepared and because the time is ripe. And when the time is ripe, what I have determined cannot be stopped. I want you to enter with a clear posture, not hurried, not hesitant, obedient. Haste causes you to miss details. Hesitation causes you to miss timing. Obedience keeps you centered between courage and humility. You will act when action is needed, and you will stop when I tell you to stop. You will move when I say move, and you will not run ahead of me. My rhythm always guards you from exhaustion. This new door will also allow you to see my ordering of your past more clearly. Detours you once could not understand will begin to make sense. Rejections will reveal themselves as protection from the wrong paths. Slower seasons will be seen as times when I reinforced your foundation. As you look back with new light, you will stop blaming yourself for not arriving sooner. You will understand that arriving sooner would have cost you your wholeness. I was protecting you, and because you were protected, you now enter with cleaner hands and a steadier heart. I also want you to pay attention to how you speak about yourself in this new door. Do not carry the language of the old season into the new. Do not call yourself lacking, defeated, or not enough. You are no longer driven by fear. You are led by truth. Speak in alignment with what I am doing. You are being built, being expanded, being supported. The language you choose will either cooperate with my lead or resist it. I want your words to agree with the light, not with the shadows. Step across the threshold. Do not linger at the doorway analyzing the wind. Do not remain at the edge because you fear you will not be able to keep what is good. I do not only open the door, I walk through it with you. I will teach you how to live in the new without losing peace, how to build in the new without burning out, how to shine in the new without pride. And if you feel your heart tremble lightly as you stand before this door, remember, trembling is not always fear. Sometimes it is the soul recognizing what has been appointed. You are not being pushed, you are being invited. You are not being abandoned, you are being led. You are not stepping in to prove yourself, you are stepping in to fulfill. I am here. The door is open, and you, beloved child, are ready to enter. Beloved child, when you have stepped through the door I opened, the first thing you will notice will not be cheers from the outside, but a flow from within. That flow is like cool water returning to land that has been dry for too long. It is not thunderous like a waterfall, but steady, clear, and directed. I call this restoration. And I want you to understand from the beginning, my restoration is not merely giving back what you thought you lost. My restoration is renewing your capacity to live, to trust again, to hope again, to love again, and to walk again without carrying the same fractures as before. You have come through seasons where you had to brace yourself just to stand. You learned to ration your emotions, to be cautious with trust, and to keep a layer of defense around your heart. I do not fault you for that. I know you learned those ways so you would not be hurt again. But, beloved child, in this season, I am not only healing surface wounds, I am going deep to restore parts of you that you once thought were dead within innocence. Eagerness, the courage to believe that good can come without being paid for with fear. Restoration begins as I return to you the breath of your soul. You will find yourself sleeping more easily, thinking less in spirals, and carrying less vigilance in your heart. Not because you have become naive again, but because you are no longer fighting alone. I am with you now in a more tangible way within your inner experience. When I am near, you do not need tension to stay alert. You learn to be awake in peace, and then restoration will touch the way you see yourself. Before, you may have defined yourself by what you lacked, what you had not achieved, or the times you were misjudged. Now, I begin to rewrite that definition with the truth: you are not the sum of your wounds. You are not the labels placed upon you. You are you, created by me, kept by me, led by me. When you stand in this definition, you no longer need to prove that you deserve to be loved. You live as one who knows they belong to me. Restoration will also reach what you call loss. There are things you once grieved, believing you had missed them forever. I do not deny that pain. I do not tell you it's nothing, as if the wound were unreal. I tell you this: I am the one who can turn loss into ground for something new. I do not always restore by bringing back the exact old thing. Sometimes I restore by giving you a better version, one that fits who you are now. Cleansed of false motives and harmful ties, you will begin to see what once seemed closed develop small openings of light. Not because you managed better, but because I am rearranging what you could not reach. Hearts that were once hard may soften. Opportunities that were once distant may draw near. Relationships that were once stuck may be repositioned, not necessarily to return to the old form, but to be healed in the right way. I do not restore you so you can return to the loop. I restore you so you can step out of it. Pay attention. Restoration often comes with a subtle test, the test of receiving. Some are so accustomed to lack that when abundance arrives, they feel disoriented. Some are so used to disappointment that when something good comes, they suspect it. If you find it hard to believe in good things, do not condemn yourself. Simply bring that doubt to me. I will teach you how to receive blessing without shrinking, how to accept support without feeling indebted, how to receive love without waiting for it to leave. This is the deepest restoration, restoring the ability to receive while remaining at peace. I will also restore your voice. You were silent for a long time because you did not want to cause trouble, or because you believed your words did not matter. But in this season, I give your words weight, not the weight of hardness, but the weight of truth. You will speak less, but more accurately. You will no longer use words to protect an image. You will use them to express what is true and to build what is good. I am not calling you to be argumentative. I am calling you to be clear. Restoration will touch your creativity and ideas as well. Ideas will return like underground springs. You will feel energy to do things you once had no strength for. Plans will begin to take shape without strain. This is the sign that life is flowing again. When life flows again, you do not need to force it. You only need to guide it within its proper banks. I will teach you a new discipline so that the flow does not spill chaotically or exhaust you, but nourishes the right places. Remember this too: restoration is not always comfortable. Sometimes, to restore, I must touch places that have gone numb. When circulation returns, there may be sharp sensations. When feeling returns, you may become more sensitive. Do not fear this. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are coming back to life. I do not reopen feelings to hurt you. I reopen it so you can be whole. In this season of restoration, hold to one thing: do not rush. When things begin to feel better, You may want to compensate for the years you believe were lost. But I am not restoring you so you can enter another cycle of exhaustion. I am restoring you so you can learn the rhythm of abundance, a rhythm without chaos. As it has been said in the Word, it is better to have little with reverence than much with turmoil. I am not against abundance, I am against disorder, and I am teaching you how to live with much and still be at rest. The flow of life is returning. Let it flow. Receive each small sign, a lighter heart one day, a clearer decision, a fitting encounter, a clean opportunity. Do not despise small things. Small things are the beginning of greater ones. I am restoring you not merely so you can be okay, but so you can step into what I have appointed with gentle strength and mature trust. I am with you in this process, and what I restore, I make lasting. Beloved child, as the flow of restoration continues, you will notice something different from what you once imagined. I am not restoring you merely by compensating for what you lacked before. I do not work like people do, counting years, measuring losses, and paying back an exact amount. I work as the Creator. I restore by recreating, by renewing the foundation so that you not only regain what was lost, but also receive what fits the person you have become. For you are no longer who you were in the old season. If I returned everything unchanged without renewal, you would carry the same burdens and repeat the same cycles. I restore you so you can enter a new life without paying for it with contraction. You will begin to recognize my returning through very ordinary yet powerful things, doors you thought were permanently closed, opening a crack of light, conversations once impossible, gaining a chance to be reset, people who were distant behaving differently, resources you thought unavailable, appearing without your forcing. But, beloved, the most important thing is not the outward signs. The most important change is within you. You no longer chase. You no longer live from a posture of lack that must grasp. You begin to recognize abundance as an atmosphere, a state in which you can receive without fear, give without depletion, and move without panic. I know you once longed to be restored in the exact shape you imagined, the same person, the same opportunity, the same path. But I speak to you gently. Not everything you lost was meant to return, because some things, if they returned, would pull you back into an older version of yourself. I do not restore you so you can circle back. I restore you so you can move forward. Sometimes I restore by replacement, not a cold replacement, but a healing one. I bring something better, cleaner, truer, and more aligned with the right rhythm. You will recognize this when you see that what I give you now does not tighten you, does not demand that you trade peace, does not keep you in constant vigilance. Part of this restoration is that I am returning to you a pure confidence, not a prideful or combative confidence, but the confidence of one who knows they are standing on a firm foundation. You will begin to trust your own ability without needing to display it. You will know you are capable without forcing others to acknowledge it. You will enter new spaces without the feeling that you must ask permission to exist. This is the restoration of identity. When identity is restored, you are no longer enslaved by the looks and words of others. And then, I will return to you the voice that was taken from you. There were years when you swallowed your words because you feared disturbing others, feared being pushed aside, feared being misunderstood. You learned to speak just enough to avoid attack, and to remain silent enough to keep the surface calm. But my beloved child, in this season I am teaching you to speak again, not to win, but to be true. Your words will carry clarity without sharpness. You will learn to set boundaries with a simple sentence, without excessive apologies, without over-explaining. When you speak from truth, you do not need to defend yourself. I stand behind your words like a shield. My restoration also reaches into time. You once grieved years that seemed wasted seasons when you waited without seeing results. Periods when you labored without recognition. Days when you guarded your heart yet were still misunderstood. You may have asked yourself, what did those days mean? I tell you, no day was meaningless. I do not promise that you will return to the same place to relive them exactly as they were. I promise that I can make those days bear fruit in ways you never anticipated. I compress them, refine them, and transform them into wisdom, into depth, into discernment, into enduring resilience. And these things, my beloved child, are assets no one can take from you. You will begin to notice a kind of holy acceleration, not the frantic kind, but the kind where everything aligns. Encounters with the right people at the right time. Ideas arriving at the right moment. Opportunities appearing in proper measure. This flow will surprise you. But remember, it does not come because you are perfect. It comes because you are aligned. When you are aligned, grace has a clear path. When you stop resisting, I no longer need to pull. And when I do not have to pull, I can lead you more gently into greater steps. My restoration will also test you. In a subtle way, will you dare to receive with a pure heart? Some people, when blessed, feel unworthy and then sabotage themselves through shame. Others, when lifted up, rush to prove themselves and become exhausted. I do not want you to fall into either extreme. I want you to receive with grounded humility, knowing that you did not manufacture grace, yet not rejecting grace as if accepting it were arrogance. Receiving blessing does not make you proud, only how you use it can do that. That is why I teach you the rhythm of abundance: receive, hold, steward, share, in peace. In this season, I am also restoring to you the ability to rejoice without fearing that the luck will run out. You once lived as though something bad were always waiting to interrupt the good. When peace appeared, you feared it would vanish. When ease came, you feared it was only temporary. I am healing that reflex. I am teaching you to celebrate without trembling, to give thanks without holding your breath. Your joy will become a quiet testimony that I am able to do what I have promised. I am also returning to you support from places you did not expect. Not everyone who once opposed you will become a friend, but I can rearrange circumstances so that what once stood against you becomes a stepping stone. You will learn not to view people through old labels. You will not be naive. You will discern. Yet you will also refuse to lock the future inside past experiences. I can renew pathways. I can create connections you could never weave on your own. And when this happens, you will understand that you were never stuck, you were being prepared. Let me remind you of something important. My restoration is not a miracle so that you may live for yourself. It is a renewal so that you may live according to purpose. When I give more, I also expand your heart to steward rightly. You will find yourself wanting to do good more readily, wanting to build more intentionally, wanting to give in the right places more wisely. This is the sign that I am not only giving you resources, I am giving you vision. And if there are moments when things seem to come faster than you expected, return to the rhythm. Do not panic. Do not rush. I do not pour out blessings to confuse you. I give it to steady you. Keep the discipline of presence. Keep the boundaries of peace. Keep your heart tender. And let me continue to lead. You do not need to carry everything. You only need to be faithful with your portion. The greater part I will handle. I am restoring to you more than you ever imagined, not only materially or through opportunities, but in identity, in voice, in joy, and in the ability to live freely. What I restore is not merely so that you may have again, but so that you may be made new. And when you are made new, you will no longer fear lack. You will know that your source does not lie in circumstances, but in me. I am with you in all of this restoration. And what I give, I also teach you how to keep in peace. My beloved child, when I have begun to restore to you more than you ever thought possible, when the flow of renewal has become clear and grace has taken on tangible form, a very important phase opens, the phase of keeping. I do not say this to make you anxious, as though you must strain yourself to protect the blessing. I say this to free you from an old misunderstanding that you must live in constant vigilance to avoid losing what is good. No, my child, what I give is not kept by fear, it is kept by maturity. You have lived through seasons when every good thing came with the fear of loss. You learned to cling tightly, to stay guarded, and at times to close your heart in order to stay safe. But in this season, I am not teaching you to cling, I am teaching you to stand firm. There is a great difference between holding on through anxiety and keeping through inner order. When you stand firm in a restored identity, you do not need to squeeze grace. Grace remains because it has a place to dwell. The first thing I help you keep is your rhythm of life. Many lose what is good not because they do wrong, but because they lose their rhythm. When things begin to flow more easily, you may be tempted to move faster, take on more, carry more. But I remind you, you were not restored to live in haste. You were restored to live in rhythm. Your rhythm in this season is one that allows abundance without breeding disorder, a rhythm that makes room for rest, for listening, for adjustment. When you keep your rhythm, you keep life. I also teach you to keep your new boundaries. You have learned to say no without guilt, to choose selectively without selfishness. Do not abandon these lessons as blessing increases. Some people will return not to walk forward with you, but because they sense that you are no longer lacking as before. I am not telling you to distrust everyone. I am telling you to discern. Not every door that opens before you comes from me. Even when you are in a season of favor, discernment is how you honor what I have done. Keeping also involves your inner language. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself when things are going well. Do not return to old phrases, it will probably disappear anyway. I shouldn't hope too much. Be careful, or you'll be disappointed. Those words no longer fit your new identity. I am not calling you to live naively. I am calling you to live in trust. Trust does not deny reality. It places reality under my guidance. When you change your inner language, you change the atmosphere where grace resides. I also help you keep a healthy humility. When I lift you up, you do not need to lower yourself falsely just to be safe. Nor do you need to display yourself in order to prove anything. Healthy humility is knowing exactly where you stand. You know that what is good does not come from your own strength alone. Yet you also do not deny your responsibility to steward what has been entrusted to you. You walk with your head held high and your heart kept soft. That posture is the safest place for grace. There is one more thing of great importance I teach you, to keep what I give by sharing it in the right places. What I give you is not only for your enjoyment, it is given to flow through you. But flow through does not mean scattering without discernment. You do not need to give until you are emptied in order to prove generosity. You give as you are led, with joy and freedom. When you share in the right places, blessing does not diminish, it multiplies. When you give under pressure, blessing leaks away. Let me lead even in your giving. In the process of keeping, I will also allow you to face small tests, not to take back what I have given, but to show you that you are no longer as weak as before. You will notice yourself responding differently to situations that once would have undone you. You will see that you are no longer swept along by old emotions. This is how I show you that the restoration is real. You do not need to return to the past to verify it. The present will prove it on its own. Remember this: what I restore is not kept by returning to old survival strategies. You do not need excessive control, constant vigilance, or a way of living as if loss is always waiting nearby. I did not bring you out of the wilderness so that you would live like someone still thirsty. I brought you into abundance so that you could learn to drink without fear of running dry. When you trust that your source is in me, you no longer have to live in a posture of hoarding. And if there are moments when you stumble, if you grow tired, if you overreach, if you lose the rhythm, do not panic. Keeping is not perfection. Keeping is returning quickly, returning to my presence, returning to truth, returning to the rhythm that was given. I do not withdraw grace because you need adjustment. I give more light so that you can adjust. What I have restored in you is not as fragile as you think. It is built on a firm foundation, watered by grace, and protected by my continual guidance. You are not guarding a delicate treasure. You are living within a life that is being kept. Continue to walk with gentle maturity. Keep your rhythm. Keep your boundaries. Keep your heart soft. And keep your gaze fixed on me. What I give will remain, bear fruit, and flow through you in its proper time, neither lacking nor excessive, neither misdirected nor delayed. I am with you, not only when I restore, but also when I teach you how to keep what has been restored. My beloved child, when you have learned how to keep what I restore, keeping rhythm, boundaries, a soft heart, and peace, I will lead you to the final step of this stretch. I will place you in a new position. That position is not merely an external place or role, but first an inner posture. You stand firm, aligned, no longer living by old reflexes. From that posture, I open specific doors so that you may be present in the right place, at the right time, and with the right weight that I placed within you from the beginning. You may imagine that a new position means everyone will immediately understand and affirm you. But, my child, my new positions do not require the agreement of the crowd to be real. They are confirmed by fruit and by a peace that does not leave. When I place you there, you will not need to strain to prove yourself. You will enter with a quiet strength, doing your part, keeping your heart clean, and letting the results speak for themselves. Enduring respect does not come from applause, it comes from consistency. A new position also means a new measure of influence. You will notice that people listen to you differently, not because you speak louder, but because your words carry truth. You will see that what you do has greater reach, not because you push it outward, but because you act in the right rhythm. I am teaching you to understand that influence is not visibility. Influence is the ability to bring order, peace, and truth into places that were once chaotic. And my beloved child, that is exactly what I am forming within you. In this new position, I will also test your heart in a very subtle way. Can you keep it clean when you are lifted up? Clean does not mean untouched by attack. Clean means refusing to let bitterness take root. You will remember those who spoke ill of you, who doubted you, who tried to pull you down. But I do not place you in a new position so that you may return to answer the past. I place you there so that you may live in the present. What belongs to justice, I will handle. Your part is to keep your heart from being contaminated by old defensive habits. As I give more, I also expand responsibility. Stewardship here is not only about managing time or resources, it is about stewarding the heart. You will learn not to let busyness steal presence. You will learn not to let praise inflate you, nor criticism collapse you. You will learn to receive feedback without losing identity, and to hold boundaries without losing love. This is the maturity of one who stands in the right position. In the new position, you may face a familiar temptation, isolating yourself in the name of safety. Some, when lifted up, fear, jealousy, or attack, and therefore close their hearts. I do not want you to live that way. I did not place you in a new position so that you would stand alone at a height. I placed you there so that you would learn how to connect rightly. You will have suitable companions, few, but true. You will have relationships built on respect and purpose, not on advantage. Allow yourself to be loved and supported without suspecting everything. I will also teach you to look back on your journey with new eyes. The detours, the slow seasons, the times you were misunderstood, these will now become material for compassion toward others. A new position does not make you distant, it makes you deep enough to lift others. You will not use your experience to boast, you will use it to heal. You will not use your lessons to judge, you will use them to illuminate the way. This is how I turn your story into a living testimony. A new position also means that you will choose again each day. Not choosing purpose, the purpose is already clear, but choosing posture, choosing faithfulness over reputation, truth over convenience, peace over control. These choices keep you from slipping out of the new position. I do not place you there and then leave you. I continue to lead you through small confirmations and timely adjustments. You may find that not everyone is pleased when you are placed into a new position. Some will try to test your boundaries, your heart, your steadiness. Do not be afraid. These tests are not signs that you are wrong. Often, they are signs that you are being seen. Respond with gentle firmness. You do not need to fight to keep your place. I am the one who placed you there. And what I establish, no one can remove, as long as you remain in truth. You are no longer living as someone waiting to begin. You are living as someone who has already begun being built, being set in the right place. And in this new position, you will realize that what matters most is not where you are, but what you carry when you are there. You carry my light, a light that does not wound, but clarifies. You carry my peace, a peace that does not depend on circumstances. You carry my truth, a truth that does not need to raise its voice. Step into this new position with gratitude and steadfast humility. Remember this, you are not placed there to become the center. You are placed there to become a channel so that what I am doing in you may flow outward, build up, restore, and illuminate the path for souls walking in darkness. I am with you in this new position, and I will continue to bring to completion what I have begun in you. My beloved child, when I place you into a new position, I do not merely change where you stand, I make your life itself a sign. Not a sign to exalt you, but a sign so others may recognize that I am faithful, that dark seasons are not the ending, and that those who remain in truth will be lifted at the right time. You will not need to go everywhere telling your story. The way you are present, more peaceful, clearer, more resilient, will speak for you. There are testimonies that need no microphone. They resound through consistency. The sign of grace is not a life without trials. The sign is a life held steady in the midst of trials. You have endured enough to know that some battles cannot be won by personal strength alone. And because you know this, You will not carry the arrogance of one who has never been broken. You carry the gentleness of one who has been lifted. That gentleness does not make you weak. It gives you authority. True authority does not come from having never suffered, but from having suffered and not becoming bitter. In this new position, you will encounter people standing exactly where you once stood, carrying the same questions, the same fears, the same weariness. I do not bring them to you so you can become their fixer. I bring them so you can become a reminder that they are not walking alone, a reminder that feeling forgotten is not proof of my absence, a reminder that delay can be protection. You do not need to say much. Often, simply being there with mature peace is enough to lift them. The world teaches that when you are elevated, you should exploit it, accumulate, protect yourself with power. But I teach you another way when you are lifted. Become wider rather than harder. You are not meant to grow a thick shell. You are meant to grow deep roots. Deep roots allow you to stand firm without pushing others down. Deep roots allow you to rejoice when others are lifted beside you, without being eaten away by competition. Remember this, the sign of grace is always accompanied by wise humility. Humility is not self-diminishment, nor is it denial of what I am doing. Humility is knowing your source clearly. You know you did not save yourself, yet you do not refuse the responsibility of stewardship. When people praise you, you do not become intoxicated. When they criticize you, you do not collapse. You receive both in the light, keeping what is useful, releasing what is toxic. This is the mark of someone rightly placed. Your heart is no longer governed by external conditions. Grace will give your life a different fragrance, the fragrance of freedom. You will no longer live as someone who needs permission to exist, nor will you live as someone who must clutch tightly to avoid loss. You live as one who knows they are being held. And when you live this way, you do not use control to create safety. You create safety through presence. People will sense this and want to be near, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. In this new position, light will attract two kinds of people. Some will come because they are being healed. Some will come because they want to test the limits. Do not be surprised. The sign of grace always provokes a response. But do not fear. I did not place you as a sign so that you would be consumed. I placed you as a sign and gave you wisdom to keep boundaries. You will learn to open your heart without opening every door. You will learn to love without abandoning yourself. You will learn to help without carrying what is not yours. This is mature love. I want you to become a sign of grace in a very concrete way in how you relate to those who once wronged you. This does not mean you return to give them another chance to hurt you. No, grace does not cancel wisdom, but grace transforms how you carry memory. You do not carry memory as a weapon. You carry it as a lesson. You do not need retaliation to feel strong. You are strong because you are no longer controlled by it. And that freedom is a greater sign than any public victory. In this new position, you will be invited to lead, not necessarily by title, but by influence. Your influence will lie in bringing order into chaos, peace into tension, truth into ambiguity. You will not need to do everything. You only need to do your part. Sometimes your leadership is simply daring to speak the truth at the right moment. Sometimes it is daring to stop when everyone else is running. Sometimes it is choosing what is right, even when what is right is not celebrated. These choices send a powerful message. There is another source guiding you. Grace will also teach you to see others with healing eyes. You will stop rushing to conclusions. You will stop attaching labels, for you know that within every person there are invisible battles. And yet, You will also stop allowing other people's chaos to spill into your life. This is the balance of grace, compassion without compromise, empathy without the loss of boundaries. My beloved child, it is precisely this balance that makes you a rare sign. I also want you to remember this: the sign of grace is not meant to lift you up so you can look down on others. The sign of grace lifts you higher so you can see farther, so you can perceive the larger picture, so you are not trapped in small matters, so you are not easily stirred by trivial things. When you see farther, you live more lightly. When you live more lightly, you release peace. And when you release peace, you are fulfilling a part of the purpose I have sown. You are not a sign because you are without flaws. You are a sign because I did not abandon you. You are not a sign because you are always strong. You are a sign because I lifted you when you were weak. You are not a sign so that people will exalt you. You are a sign so that people may believe that I am still at work, still healing, still restoring. Walk in your new position with a soft heart and wise discernment. Let grace flow through you in the way you speak, the choices you make, the way you love, the way you keep boundaries, and the way you stand firm. I am with you, and I will continue to use your life as a wordless reminder that where I am, no season is ever hopeless. My beloved child, when you have been placed into a new position and your life has become a sign of grace, I lead you into the final stage of this journey, completion. But listen to me carefully, my completion is not loud, not showy, not like a peak where you must hold your breath to keep your balance. My completion comes gently, like a river that, after a long journey, finally merges with the sea without losing its essence. You do not disappear, you are made whole. Many things you once waited for no longer take their old form. You have changed. And so the way you receive has changed as well. There are dreams that no longer make your heart race as they once did, not because they were wrong, but because you have grown larger than them. And there are things you never dared to name that now appear as a natural part of your life. This is the sign of completion, when you no longer have to reach too far to touch what I have prepared. You simply need to be in the right place. This gentle completion also carries something very precious: inner rest. Not rest because everything is finished, but rest because you are no longer resisting the current. You no longer live in what if or if only. You no longer turn back to check whether you missed something. You live here in the present with a deep trust that where you are standing is where I have led you. This rest does not make you passive. It makes you effective without exhaustion. Within this completion, I teach you how to remain in peace when things improve, to remain in humility when you are recognized, to remain in truth when you have the option to choose an easier path. Remaining is the discipline of the mature. Many can step into grace. Not everyone knows how to remain in grace. You have learned this, and because you have learned it, I can trust you with sustainability. You may be surprised to discover that in completion, I do not remove all questions, I simply make them lighter. You will still have things you do not know, turns that are not yet revealed, but they no longer unsettle you. You learn to live with questions without losing your footing. This is the maturity of faith, not needing every answer to move forward, only knowing that I am with you on every stretch of the road. I also want you to look back on this long journey with new eyes, not eyes of judgment, not eyes of regret, but eyes of awakened gratitude. Dark seasons are no longer stains, they are foundations. Stumbles are no longer proof of weakness. They are places where I taught you how to rise rightly. Times of being misunderstood are no longer bitterness. They are lessons that taught you to live truthfully without needing to be fully understood. When you look back this way, The past no longer has the power to hold you. It becomes a witness to the work I have done. In this gentle completion, I also release you from one final burden, the burden of having to become something in order to be worthy. You no longer have to become in order to be loved. You are already loved. You no longer have to prove in order to remain. You are already being held. From this foundation, everything you do is no longer an effort to attain, but a response of gratitude. When you live from this place, you work with joy, not with pressure. My completion also brings a deep simplicity. You do not need a complicated life to feel important. You do not need a crowded schedule to feel valuable. You learn to choose less but enough, to choose depth over excess. This simplicity does not make your life poor, it makes your life richly focused. And where there is focus, life multiplies. Some may look at your life now and say, "Why does everything seem so calm?" They are accustomed to drama, to escalation, to tension, but you know this is not the calm of stagnation. This is the calm of alignment. You are no longer out of sync with what I am doing. You are no longer running ahead of me, nor pulling me behind you. You walk with me, and walking with me always brings peace. In this completion, I do not close your story. I open it in a new way, not as a series of constant struggles, but as a journey of steady building. You will continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to adjust, but the foundation is firm. You no longer fear shifting winds, because your roots are deep. You no longer fear rainy days, because you know where to take shelter, and you no longer fear the dark, because you have learned how to carry light. My beloved child, remember this as you step into the days ahead. My completion is not an ending. It is a place of stability from which everything else can be built rightly. I did not lead you this far only to let you lose your way. I did not heal, restore, position you, and make you a sign so that you would live halfway. I did all of this so that you would live fully whole in identity, whole in peace, whole in purpose. And if one day you ask yourself, "Is that all?" I will smile and say to you, "No, you have only just begun to live from the right place." From that right place, you will do small things with great meaning, take ordinary steps with eternal weight, and love in a way that does not drain you. This is the life I have always desired for you. You are in the right place. Remain. Keep walking. Live. I am with you not only in the ascent, but in the gentle completion of a life fully guided. Thank you for listening to today's message. Please subscribe and turn on notifications so we can continue receiving the living word together, building a firm faith, and walking in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.